Hello there, and welcome to the Ninja Chickens podcast, episode number 2. This is a podcast mostly about fiber related crafts, knitting, spinning, natural dyeing, with a bit of sewing and embroidery, and sometimes homesteading and homeschooling thrown in there. For those of you who came out to my first episode a couple weeks ago, thank you so much for all your comments, for all your feedback, for introducing yourself in the Ravelry group. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to get to know you guys. And if this is your first time, then thank you for coming to check me out. My name is Maria. You can find me on Instagram as ninja.chickens, and you can find me on Ravelry as Ninja Chickens. And we have a Ravelry group, Ninja Chickens Ravelry group also, if you'd like to come in, join, and play in the fun. Join in the fun, come and play, something like that. So let's see. I was thinking it would be fun for the second episode so I can get to know you guys a little bit better. And so you can know a little something fun about me. If you could go to the Ravelry group and tell me something interesting about yourself. It could be that you were a grandma. It could be that you learned to drive when you were 11. Whatever you want to tell me. I think that would be a lot of fun. And I'll start a little thread, something fun or something interesting about yourself. What I thought I would tell you about is something that I did for my summer job when I was 16. It really was my first job. I worked at a movie theater for a couple of weeks and then got a really bad cold. And my mom quit for me because she didn't want me going into work, and the boss said I had to be there 40 hours, no matter if I was sick or not. Ooh. Sorry, I thought he was going to step on the computer. That's Cookie Dough. I'll introduce him later. And that's Isabella back there. We have 4 cats. So maybe I'll do cat introductions instead of chicken introductions this week. So, okay, something interesting about myself. So when I was 16, it was between my sophomore and junior year in high school. A couple of friends of mine told me that there was a movie company coming to make a movie in Asheville. Asheville's got a lot of movies that come here because it's beautiful scenery, neat town. So I was told I could go to this certain trailer downtown where they were looking to hire people if I wanted to get a job. I thought, well, that sounds like fun. I'll go see what they've got going on. So I went down there and there was barely anyone there. I don't know if it wasn't advertised or if it was just, taking place over a long period of time as far as hiring. But I ended up meeting up with the main makeup artist who was going to be overseeing everything. And she was Italian, and I'm Italian, so she's like, "Hey, I could use another Italian on the set." So she gave me some makeup and asked me to repeat a specific design on this person that was there. And so I did. It was actually war paint because the movie was going to be The Last of the Mohicans. And she's like, "Yeah, that's great. So you're hired." It was like that simple. I got hired onto a major motion picture to do war paint and body paint for the Native Americans who were doing the Mohawk and the 2 last Mohican. Yeah, and it was like 3 months during the summer of just having a blast. I loved it. Now the funny part, that's pretty cool, I think, for a 16-year-old to get to work on a movie. Well, there's 2 funny parts. The first funny part is that I didn't wear makeup. I didn't know how to put on makeup. Really, the only thing I did is kind of what I do now, which is like a chapstick or a lipstick. When I was 12, I wanted to wear makeup. So my mom got me a Estee Lauder 64 palette. It had 64 different eyeshadow colors in this huge thing. She got it at a yard sale. So every day when I was in the 6th grade, I would match my eyeshadow with whatever I was wearing. If I was wearing a yellow dress, I had on yellow eyeshadow. If I was wearing a neon blue shirt, I had neon blue eyeshadow because I had 64 colors to choose from, so why not? So that was my makeup experience before I went to go work on Last of the Mohicans as a makeup artist. And I just thought that was funny. And since I worked on another movie for a friend who wanted a makeup artist, and I did a horrible job because I don't know how to put on makeup. War paint I could do though, because it was more like painting a picture. You would create this specific picture on someone in the paints. So after that, a couple years later, when the movie was finally coming out, I was actually on my college campus and wearing a t-shirt that I'd gotten from the movie. And a girl stopped me and said, "How did you get that t-shirt?" And I told her I'd worked on the movie. She goes, "I'm the director's niece. Let's go to the premiere together." So then she got tickets so that she and I and some friends could go to the premiere of the movie, not in Hollywood, but where I was going to college. So it was really fun, you know, cultivating coincidences to have a fun life, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, that's a little something about me. So I'd love to hear something fun, something interesting, whatever you want to share in the Ravelry group if you want to come and say hi. Now, let's get on to knitting. I have 2 works in progress. I almost didn't have any because I was really stressing out about finishing that scarf for my husband and daughter before they went away this weekend, but I got it done and then I just kind of went crazy. So the first thing is the Ketlin scarf. I actually cast this on last night. That's the scarf, the Ketlin skirt. This is the Ketlin skirt. It is a Fair Isle skirt. The design is by Cat Coyle, or Cole, maybe, Coyle. But it's in the book Fair Isle Style. See if I can get it away from, there we go, by Mary Jane Mucklestone. It came out a couple of years ago, and I absolutely love this skirt. There's a kitty design in it, and though, you know, obviously we have lots of cats, and I like cats, I didn't really want that design in the skirt, so I've redone it, and that part where the kitty is, I think I'm going to make to look like a swirl. I thought that would be kind of neat. So here, let me show you where I'm at. I just cast it on last night, but Fair Isle's just addictive to me. I want to see what the next line is going to look like, so I just keep going. So this is what it looks like so far. I'm using, for the main color, it's going to be fern fiber yarn, Robin and Squeaky. I showed you guys that last week. That's this, which is a gray Romney. Look at Isabella staring. And then I'm also using some leftovers that I have from Wing and a Prayer Farm. Another really, it's a very light gray. And this is from Thelma, Louise, and Hester, 3 of her sheep. And then all the rest of the colors are Knit Picks, Wool of the Andes Sport. I've got lots in this baggie of different colors. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be really nice with a pair of leggings or jeans underneath. So I'll get working on that. Let's see. I'm actually knitting it on a size 5, which is US 3.5 millimeter, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 3.75 to get gauge. And then my next one is some socks. I was telling my son, Leaf, he's 7. I was telling him that I wanted something simple to work on because we're going to be traveling in a week. Though I'm going to be finished these before we start traveling. And he said, make me some socks. So he picked out some yarn so that I could make some socks for him. And here they are to start. I'm just about ready to turn the heel. He wanted red toes, heels, and cuffs. And then the actual yarn is from Undead Yarn, Heidi of Undead Yarn, and it is her Vamphyri base and the Hexen Beast colorway. And I love the way it knits up. This is another one that's hard not to keep doing because it's striping and you just want to get to the next color. But I think they're beautiful. And because I'm doing toes, heels, and cuffs in a contrasting color, I should be able to knit myself a pair of these. So that will be fun. Oh, and the red, the toes, heels, and cuffs are a Twist Fiber Studio yarn that I had in my stash, some extra of that. So we'll probably do a different color for heels, toes, and cuffs for me. Let's see, and that is on US 1, 2.25 for me. And I cast on 52 stitches. And it looks like they're going to fit. I'm right about ready to turn the heel, and I've been having problems with heels. I'm fairly new to sock knitting. I've been knitting for about 20 years. Yeah, a little more maybe. But last year was the first year I knit a pair of socks in fingering weight yarn. I'd done slipper type stuff or bulky weight socks, but not a real, that was the chubby cat. Not a fingering weight sock. So this past year, 2016, I think is the first year I did one. And I'm finding that the heels slip off. I've done a heel flap. I've done the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I've done the Susan B. Anderson heel. And I don't know, for me anyway, I don't know if my heels are deep, that I need to cast on some extra rows on both sides of the heel. Like when I cast on the heel, instead of immediately starting with the short rows, if maybe I need to do 3 or 4 rows just back and forth to try and make the heels longer, I might try that. Because the sock seems like it fits, but after a little while, the heel just slips forward towards the front of my foot. And I feel like if it were a bigger cup, that it would go around my heel better. So if you have any recommendations, I'd love to hear them. Let's see. Finished objects. Okay. First is the scarf, which I'm going to show you now. I recorded it previously because my husband and daughter left this morning to go to their conference, and I wanted to make sure I got that in for you. So my first finished object, I'm actually recording beforehand because my husband and daughter are going to be taking it with them this weekend to the Scarab Festival or conference, which is they're heading down to South Carolina for the South Carolina Area Role-Playing and Board Game Convention. And they're going to be playing a bunch of Pathfinder, or it's a spin-off of Dungeons and Dragons, I guess. So I wanted them to be able to take this with them. It is the Dungeon Scarf of the Skeleton King. And let's see, we'll start it from here. It's a role-playing adventure game scarf. So you can see it comes with heavy metal buttons that represent different parts of the adventure board game. And this is a double knitted scarf. So the other side is the opposite color. So you can play the black board game side or the red board game side. And this is a design by Schell, who's one of the owners of the Pearls Yarn Emporium in Asheville, North Carolina. So I knit this. Yep, it just keeps going. It's really long. I knit this for my husband and daughter because I thought it would be a lot of fun to wear and also to be able to play. We have not played it yet, but I'm excited too. And here's the end. I think that's supposed to be your 20-sided die and a little crown at the end. So I finally finished this. This was my first attempt at double knitting. And once I got into it, double knitting is really not that hard. It just is slow going for me because basically you're doing knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl for 500 rows times 80 stitches. So it was a lot of knitting and purling back and forth to get both sides of the double knit scarf. I'm glad I did it. It's really pretty and I'm excited to play the game and I'm excited that they'll get to, you know, wear it, share it with other people. I will probably do smaller double knitting projects if I do them in the future because it took me forever and I wanted to have it done so badly by this weekend. So so I put most of my effort into getting it done, but I like it. I think it's really cool. Oh, it was, let's see, it's the black and gray yarns coming out a little bit darker. That is white birch fiber arts, and they're dark night of the soul colorway, and the red is Jill Draper Makes Stuff, and that's her Esopus base and her At the Forge colorway. And I did it on a US 4 3.5 millimeter, and yeah, I like it and I'm excited. I'll let you know how the game goes. I think it'll be fun. My second finished object is this gorgeous hat by Caitlin Hunter. It's the Cardamom coffee hat. It's a colorwork pattern. Very pretty. She has hers done in fingering weight. I did this in DK weight because I wanted it to be a little thicker, a little warmer. And so I cast on less stitches. I've got that all in the pattern notes on Ravelry if you want to see. I think it was 84 stitches. And I knitted on a size 6 or 4 millimeter, and then a size 4 or 3.5 millimeter for the brim. What I didn't take into account is it would also be longer. And I'm not a slouchy hat person, but I'll tell you why. I always thought slouchy hats looked funny on me because they were so tall. And then I realized, well, it's because it's not slouchy. When you're wearing a slouchy hat, you're supposed to kind of pull it down in the back, right? So it doesn't stick up off the top of your head. I don't know why I didn't ever think of that. I noticed, I think it was Kristen of Wool and Vine Yarns or Yarngasm, putting on a hat and pulling it down in the back. And I was like, oh, that's how you wear a slouchy hat. So now I have a slouchy hat and I like it because I always thought they looked funny on me when they looked like that. Because if you wear your hat up like that, you kind of look like an egghead, right? But if you pull it down in the back, it looks all right. Hi. So I think Isabella wants to say hi. I'm going to introduce you to Isabella real quick. This is, I kind of wanted to take that music from The Lion King and hold her up and have that play. She's such a little lump. This is Isabella. Look up here, sweetie. Look up here. Isabella is 13. She's almost 14, but she's only 6 pounds. She's a little lump, and this is how she likes to sit. That's why it's kind of hard to hold her. Isabella is a Devon Rex, which is a breed that came about from Devonshire, England in the 1960s. It was, I think, a mutation from a tomcat and a little house cat. And one of the cats of the litter was born with curly hair. And I think they called it curly, of course, because that's what you call a cat who has curly hair. And they started breeding from that cat and got curly-haired cats. And some of the other differences, come here, Izzy. If you look at Isabella's face, she's got a little pixie face. She's got big ears and kind of a short nose. Her hair is curly because she's missing the longest hair. I think it's the guard hair. So what you see is the super soft undercoat. Devon Rex also are a little bit more oily, so they don't shed as much, and they don't have the guard hair that falls out with all the extra dander. So they're supposed to be better for people with allergies, cat allergies. We got Isabella when she was, I think, 5 or 6 years old. We rescued her from a breeding operation where, according to when we first got her, the people said, well, we think she's, maybe a couple years old. She had just had a litter. And then they found papers and found out that she was, I think, 6 and had just had a litter and had actually had many litters. So we're really glad we got her. She's kind of an anxious little nut. She really, really likes to sit on my lap. As soon as I sit down, I can say 3, 2, 1. And then from somewhere in the house, Isabella comes running because she knows she has a psychic connection when I sit down so that she can be on my lap. But she will be your best friend if you give her love and snuggles. She loves to sit on your lap. All right, well, you can sit here. Isabella is also the resident vomiter in the house. She has a dairy allergy, and we don't give her dairy on purpose, but with 2 kids around the house, often little pieces of cheese or a little bit of milk or ice cream or whatever is left out, and she'll sip on it, and then within 2 hours, she'll throw up. And she knows that it's really important not to hit the floor, that it'd be a bad idea to vomit on the floor where it's easy to clean it up. So she will, vomit on the couch or on a cloth chair, or one of her favorite places is any of my knitting that she's found left out. So, my crazy little cat. She's a sweetheart and she's very talkative. That's another thing. Devon Rex are very talkative. But anyway, she will occasionally be here. I have another cat sitting in the window up there. He's fast asleep, but I'll introduce him some other time so we can continue with the knitting because I feel like I've been blabbering about other things a lot so far this episode. Okay, let me see. So you saw the works in progress and the finished objects. I have 3 things that I'm wanting to cast on. One was another request by my son, and let me see if I can find that one. Yes. He wanted some mittens, so I got him mittens with hats and cats. Mittens and hats with cats. So the top side has kittens on it, and the bottom side has a little paw. So he wants his done in red and black, so I got some knit picks for that. It seems like a sturdy yarn that will hold up to a 7-year-old playing around in the snow and probably getting all muddy with them almost immediately. So I will cast those on soon. Oh, and those, that's by Jorid Lindvik. And then for myself and maybe my daughter, because we can wear the same size pretty much now, I've been wanting to cast on the Shine Mittens by Pia Kemaborn. This is the same designer who did those Christmassy colorwork socks that I showed you last time. She just has a beautiful style, and I really love how she puts things together. So I think these look beautiful. I'm going to be doing them in white and kind of a teal. I think that will be really pretty together. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the cuff in another color or what. We will see. And then, oh, the last thing is the house sweater. I think this is what I'm going to use because I had said last time that I'm looking for a sweater that I can steek, a Fair Isle sweater that I can steek. And what I found is the Fair Isle sweaters that I really liked that had all the colorwork along the top, I really liked them as a pullover. And then I came across this one called House by Doris Stevenson. And it just has a little bit of color work along the top, but it's delicate, really beautiful and classy. But you knit it in the round and you'll steek the center. And if you don't know, steeking is when you actually cut the knit work so that you can put in a zipper or buttons or open up a certain spot for something. So that's the sweater. And I think that's going to be lovely. I haven't picked my colors yet. I kind of like those colors. I think they look really nice, but I'm not sure that that green is my color. We'll see. But yeah, so those are 3 things I'll be casting on in the near future. Spinning. We talked about spinning last week, and I was going to start spinning the Bonkers colorway. It was that yellow with all those beautiful colors in it. And I decided, thank you for all of your recommendations. First of all, I decided to spin it as a single, because if it's spun as a single, then it will definitely be keeping its colors. And it did, and I love it. I absolutely love this. If you can imagine it with a little bit more sunshine, the yellow is, well, if you see this color, let's see if it'll focus. That yellow is closer to what the rest of this yellow is. It's a brighter golden yellow. But I love it. It's beautiful. And I think that this would make a really nice shawl, maybe with a solid contrasting color. But look, it's straight. I spun the singles loosely because I wanted it not to curl up too much on itself, and I didn't even weigh it down. I washed it, I gave it a few good thwacks, and it's nice and straight. So there are a few weak spots in there, but I think it's going to make a beautiful knitted object. So I'm excited about that. I don't know if I'll pick up any spinning in the next couple of weeks or not. When I'm excited about knitting, that's always my go-to. So I have lots of knitting stuff. I'm not sure if I'll pick up some spinning, but we'll see. Let's see. So yeah, Leaf and I have worked a little bit on our embroidery. Just a little bit. He likes to do it in like little spurts of about 5 minutes, 10 stitches here, 10 stitches there, and then I'll do a few. But this is what it's looking like so far. Super cute. We finished up the bottom. We worked on the outside of the globe and worked on the moon and the trees. And I love it. Let's see. And then my daughter has been working on hers just a little bit. And this is the one that she's doing. It's a little bear. And she doesn't have much. She just has to finish finish the face and the X's. So hopefully she will get to working on that soon too, because I like seeing them finished. They're a lot of fun. All right. Okay, so I'm really excited about this. This is why I'm calling this episode The Big Reveal. So last week I told you guys that I wanted to knit a skirt, or 2 weeks ago. Scratch that. 2 weeks ago I told you guys that I wanted to sew a skirt, and I started cutting out some of the pattern, and then I was going to eco print it. I did a lot of experimenting with silk and with cotton. Silk or protein fibers seem to take the print so much better than cotton does. I could see the details of the veins in the leaves when I put it on the silk. And I did some maple, and I did some eucalyptus, purple carrots, and got some really beautiful prints. The cotton came out nicely, but it was usually much more muted. So I still did some printing on the skirt, but I decided I wasn't going to open it until today. So here's what I've got. They're nice and dry now. These are the two skirts because it's a layered skirt, right? This one right here is going to be the underlayer. Yeah. And it is printed with maple leaves and peach leaves. So you can see that it took some color. So I'm optimistic. And we're going to open it and have the big reveal here. I'm going to get maple and crap all over my floor. Sorry. And this one is with eucalyptus. And you can see there too that there is some pink and some green and some other colors coming through. So I'm optimistic. All right, Izzy B, you're going to have to hop down. So let's cut into it. Let's see. Isabella's going to be mad now that I took her off my lap. She's so silly. All right, so this is the eucalyptus, and it's actually wrapped around copper pipes. And I simmered it with some copper pipes because copper seems to help bring that orange out in the eucalyptus. And there's hundreds of different varieties of eucalyptus, and it totally depends on the time of year, the weather that's been going on with the trees, what variety. I used red ironbark eucalyptus. I was told that that's a really good one to print with, so that's what I've been trying. And I still have some. Actually, here's some right here behind Isabella. And when you break the leaf, oh my gosh, it smells so nice. All right, here we go. Oh, I can see something. Oh, listen to all that crunch. All right, I'm going to shake it out and drop all this stuff on the floor so that I can open it up for you. Let's see. Take out these pipes. There we go. Pardon me. Oh, so another thing that I did is I turned it inside out and I placed the leaves on the inside. And that way the pattern would print on both sides of the fabric. All right. Here we go. So there it is. Oh, look. That's so cool. So what'll happen is once I rinse it and iron it, you'll be able to see the design a lot better. Oh, see, there's the copper pipe. There's going to be a copper pipe down the middle of my skirt. But look. Yay, it worked. It worked, it worked. Let's see if I can find a good spot for you to see. Here's that one. Very cool. Yay, so this actually got some good color on it. It's never going to be as bright, from my experience, as silk, but I think that looks really pretty. And once you flatten it out and iron it, the pattern stands out a lot more. Okay, smells like vinegar. So there's one. Now let's see what the maple did. Yes, I know, Isabella. The maple seemed to print better on cotton than the silk. Excuse me, than the eucalyptus did. So hopefully this has a nice dark print to it. Rolling. I didn't put anything in this. This was just plain water, no copper pipes or iron or anything. If I put iron in it, it would turn really dark, which would have been pretty, but I kind of wanted to see it without. And if I decide that it's not dark enough, I can dip it in a pot with an iron pipe and see how that looks. Okay, so unfold it. This is the underskirt, so it's going to be bigger. I'm going to dump all this stuff on the floor. Sorry for all the crinkling. And again, I did this one. I turned the skirt inside out and placed the leaves on the inside so that printed on the front and the back. Let's see if I can turn it inside out for you. My floor is such a mess. All right. Thank you for your patience. Now let's see. All right. So here is the print. Whoa, look at that. That's awesome. So maple and peach. These pointy leaves, like this one, is the peach leaf. And then you can tell the maple ones. So turn it around. And again, once it's ironed out, you'll be able to see it a lot better. So one side was the front of the leaf and the other side was the back. And I have found that the back of the leaves make a more distinct print. So I put the back facing all one direction in the front. Like I didn't flip them over because I thought, well, one side will be the front of the skirt and one will be the back. And then maybe it'll be more distinct on the front. But wow, look, you can actually, some of the peach leaves put out some really dark colors. Yeah, cool. That's a really nice one. Right there. Neat. So definitely more muted on cotton than it is on silk or wool. But I think this can be a really pretty skirt. So my hope is this coming week to rinse it, iron it, and get the top sewn together. So next week I can show you the final product. Hey, ooh, pardon me. Yeah, so thanks. Thanks for doing that with me. That was exciting. I know, she's so grumpy sometimes. Well, as far as dyeing, other dyeing things, I actually have, the house smells like goldenrod right now because I cut a bunch of goldenrod this fall when it was in bloom and put it in the freezer. And I am currently dyeing a bunch of fern fiber yarn, some of the gray robin and squeaky yarn, and then Mama and Blackfoot, some of her gray yarn, or their gray yarn. I'm dyeing some of those a yellow because we're gonna have some Nikki's coming over tomorrow, the other half of fern fiber. Oh, and I didn't say that. You can also find me on Instagram at fernfiber and fernfiber.com. I'm one half of a naturally dyed yarn business. Nikki's coming over tomorrow to do some dyeing, along with some photographers from Crested Koa, I believe is how it's pronounced. They're coming over to take pictures of our process. And we're going to be doing indigo and hopefully madder. So I thought it would be nice to have some yellow to dip in the indigo to make green, but it's all going to be on a gray base. So it's going to be a richer color, softer colors. I'm really excited to see how that turns out. So there's some goldenrod yellow dyeing on the stove right now, and then we'll be doing blue and red tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll take lots of pictures and video of that too for next next episode. And next episode, episode number 3, is going to be a little bit late because we're going to be at Disney for a week. Yay! We're taking the kids to Disney. My uncle lives down there, so it's easy to find a place to stay. My mother happens to be down there right now, so we'll be able to hang out with her. She lives up here in North Carolina where I live, but she's down there on a vacation too. So we're going to take the kids there, go to all the parks, go on all the rides. I'm probably more excited than anyone else about the roller coasters because I really like roller coasters, not the upside down kind, but I love the roller coasters that they have at Disney and have so much fun. So it's going to be a nice vacation. I would say it'd be nice to get away from the cold, but it's like 65 degrees outside right now. But last week, almost exactly a week ago, it was 2 degrees. That's 2 degrees Fahrenheit, so negative 17 Celsius. And then, you know, within a week, it's up to 65 degrees. It's nuts. The weather is nuts around here. We had about 6 inches of snow last weekend. Lots of sledding, lots of snow cream, lots of, you know, playing in the snow and having hot chocolate. And it was really wonderful. It's funny because since we homeschool, our days don't really change. It's not like the kids get a snow day because they're still at home. They can still work. I don't make them work all the time. I let them have time in the snow. I'm not that mean. But there's something about just having the snow outside. The world seems quieter and more peaceful. We know we can't get out because we're on the north side of a mountain. And though it's only about 1/3 of a mile down our drive, there's no way our car would make it back up until the snow is mostly melted. So we just, even though we could hike down the road and, you know, park the car down at the bottom of the hill, it's more fun to just be snowed in for a while. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems like a little holiday when it snows around here. If it snowed all the time, maybe it wouldn't. But we get maybe 1 or 2 good snows each winter, if that sometimes. So it was really nice. It was peaceful. It was quiet. Maybe it's quiet because the kids go outside and sled and I have a quiet house. But yeah, it was really nice. And now it's warm again, which is actually nice after having 2-degree weather because we can get outside, you know, and get around a little bit. So let's see. What else was I have some acquisitions that aren't necessarily yarny, but they are yarn related. Well, one of them isn't, but it's just funny. But I wanted to show you these. I purchased these a little while ago from a woman on Instagram. Her Instagram account is Rose Witchery. Her name is Giada Rose. And she's just an amazing artist, and I love her style. And this was the first one. I think I had this up on the dresser when I podcasted last time. And then this is another one. There's just something about them. They're like eerily beautiful. I don't know. And this was a third one that doesn't have to do with knitting or spinning, but I just loved. Oops. Isn't that gorgeous? I think it's the faces. The faces of these women. I don't know. But I love them. I want to get them framed and put up somewhere. We don't have a lot of walls in this house since it's a circular house with a lot of windows on the south side. And it's very open. So there's 2 rooms downstairs, the kids' bedrooms, and then the rest of it's completely open. And then upstairs is my bedroom, which is completely open. And so it's really hard to find a spot to podcast, but also it's hard to find a spot to hang stuff. So I don't know, I might have to put a wall in the middle of the house just so I can hang some of this pretty stuff up. But I just love them. I think they're beautiful. So it's Rose Witchery on Instagram. And so the other thing that I got from a friend named Katie. And Katie and her husband, Mike, run a flower farm out a few miles down the road from where I live. It's called the Lady Luck Flower Farm. And Katie's also knowledgeable about herbs. And so she made this for me as a gift for the holidays, which I thought was really sweet. And it's called Winter Wellness Elixir. It's just handwritten, what it has in it. And I wanted to read it to you because I just laughed. And I don't think she meant for me to laugh, but I thought it was funny. It has echinacea, elecampane, red root, pine, and spice bush. So herb-wise, that's going to help with your vitamin C. It's going to help with your immune system. It's going to help, you know, get rid of viruses that you've got. might open up your bronchioles. It's a nice formula. So the herbs were macerated, basically. They sat in a fluid to help draw out all the medicine, right? So this is what she put it in. Grain alcohol, wildflower honey, brandy, Hendrick's gin, and moonshine. Because if the herbs don't get the bug, all that alcohol will. And it's so tasty. But I just thought it was funny. There are as many different types of alcohols as there are herbs in here. But it's a really good mix. So yeah, brandy, grain alcohol, gin, and moonshine. I love it. So yeah. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's about half gone. It's really tasty. Okay, let's see. What else have I got for you? I think that's it as far as fiber related stuff goes. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of things that we did with homeschooling that I thought you might be interested in. And then I have a tea recipe for you. So the first thing that we were not purposefully, but one of the things with homeschooling, and any parent can do this, you don't have to be a homeschooler to do it, but one of the things that I try to make a point of doing is when I see something I find really interesting is I try to bring the kids in on it and not just be like, oh, that's cool, and then, click to the next website or flip the page or whatever. So my husband had found a video on something called Prince Rupert's drops. I'd never heard of them before. But I just thought it was really interesting. We ended up spending about an hour watching videos about these. So it's called Prince Rupert's drops because he was the first person, I guess, to study them. And what it is it's as simple as glass that has been taken directly out of a fire, so it's hot, it's melting, and it's let drop into cold water. So this drop of glass falls into the water. As it hits the water, the coldness of the water starts hardening the outside of the glass, but the inside is still molten. It's still really, really hot. So that's expanding as the outside is contracting. And then it starts cooling from the inside, and something to do with the physics of how it cools makes it extremely hard glass. But because it's a drop, it looks like a drop. It's got a ball to it with a tail, basically. And they showed videos of them hammering it and trying to smash it, and they couldn't until you could take pliers and pinch the end of this long tail, and when you break that, the momentum of this fracture starts breaking all the way down, and you can't see it unless it's super high video, but these are super high camera, super high speed camera, but the videos will show this in slow motion, so you can see when they pinch the end of the tail of this drop, the fractures start going all the way down the tail and then finally explode the ball of the glass. But you can shoot the ball of glass with a bullet and it doesn't crack unless the glass then falls on the floor and the tail breaks. Then it reverberates up the tail and into the ball and explodes. It's really, really cool. So if you're a nerd like I am, you should go and watch some of those. You can Google Prince Rupert's drops, or I will put a link in the show notes, which will be at ninjachickens.org. I will put a link in the show notes so you can click on some of those videos. We watched videos by, what was his name? Smarter Every Day. And he did 3 or 4 different videos on these drops and making them and trying to break them. One of them, I think, was hit by a bullet and knocked into the grass and still didn't break. It's just a piece of glass. But it was amazing. It was really, really cool. So that was one thing that we learned in homeschool that was really interesting. We have some glass blowers in Asheville. Maybe I should see if they'll do a little class. That would be fun. The other thing is something, I don't remember who told us about it. It was a friend who told us about this book called Rejected Princesses. I think we were talking about Disney. And it's written by Jason Porath. And it is Tales of History's Boldest Heroines, Hellions, and Heretics. It is historical, like true tales of women told kind of Disney-like, which I think is hysterical. So let's see, this is Qingxi, and all the pictures are done in Disney style. And it tells you the story of these women. So let's see, there's one woman in here. Well, there's Wilma Rudolph, who's the Olympic runner who beat polio. There is oh gosh, so many of these I can't even pronounce. Nellie Bly. Oh, what is the name of those? Oh, here it is. The woman who was a tank driver. Maria Oktyabrskaya, whose husband was killed in the war, and I think he was a tank driver, so she raised money to buy her own tank, and drove a tank in World War II. She became a tank driver to honor her husband, but again, done in Disney style. It's just fun, and so both kids, because of the cool pictures and the neat stories, have been interested in reading these, and I have too. It's not just been the kids and my husband. But one thing that's nice, because some of these stories aren't necessarily appropriate for little kids, is they actually have ratings. So they've got ratings as far as maturity level for the story, and whether there's violence, abuse, sex, rape, or self-harm, which some of these stories of these women have that, and so those ratings are on there, and from PG to R. So we know, if you're reading this with a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old, you can sit there and be like, that's not a story for us, because you know which ones have what subject in it. But for my daughter, who's 13, she can read through it and learn about these women, and just really cool. So I'll put a link to this in the show notes too, because I think that's a fun historical book. Let's see. Okay, so I think the last thing is the recipe. So I thought we'd start with something fairly simple, an herbal recipe that's fairly simple. I had an immune recipe that I wanted to give to you, but I have hundreds of herbs in my house, and so I can just go to the shelf and pick from them. And if I need to find one thing or another, it's not a big deal. But I didn't want you guys to have to go and buy 20 different things just to make a tea that you're not sure if you're going to like. So I started with something simple and something that I thought you could probably find most of this stuff at the health food store. This is Leaf's chocolate rooibos tea. It's one of his favorite teas that I make for him. And I'll put the recipe in the show notes. And it's a chocolate tea. It'll have 4 parts red rooibos. So parts are by measurement, whatever you want it to be. It could be 4 tablespoons. It could be 4 cups. That's a lot of tea. I wouldn't do that much. But you could start with 4 tablespoons of red rooibos and call that a part. Each part would be a tablespoon, right? So 4 parts of cocoa powder or cocoa nibs. That would be really nice too. 4 parts of honeybush. Those are 3 different your 3 different main parts. And then 1 part vanilla bean. If you don't have vanilla bean, you can get those in the grocery store now. They're kind of expensive, but 1 part isn't too much. You could probably just use 1 vanilla bean, and that's a fairly good amount. And then a splash of grated nutmeg, and I would use fresh nutmeg. Get a nutmeg and just run it over your grater a little bit, because it's so much better when it's fresh, and the smell of it is amazing. I kind of want to grate one down halfway and then dunk it in polyurethane or something, just so that I can keep it as a necklace, because they're so beautiful inside. If you've never grated a nutmeg nut, then you should, so you can see what the inside looks like. They're beautiful. So that's it. It's those 5 ingredients, and then what you do is take a tablespoon of it and put it in some boiled water and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. I like to add a sweetener and cream, and it's not really like hot chocolate, but it with the cocoa it's got that flavor, but it's also got a really light kind of floral flavor because of the rooibos and the honeybush, and it's really tasty, and has some nice minerals in it with the teas. So that's your recipe for this time. Let me know if you try it and if you like it. Maybe we'll build our way up to the bigger recipes. If there's something specific that you would like me to give a recipe for, let me know. I have chai, I have a herbal root beer, a simple ginger tea, immune teas, springtime tonics, all kinds of stuff. And if there's something that you would like to have a recipe for, let me know in the Ravelry group, and I'll see if I can put something together. And I think that's it. You've met Isabella. You've seen all my works in progress. We'll meet Chubby Cat cookie dough next time. And or maybe a chicken, I don't know. We'll see. I think that's it. I think we've covered everything. So yes, I'm going to Disney. We're leaving next about a week from today, and then we'll be gone for a week. So the next episode will be a little bit late, and we'll probably have some Disney in it. And that's it. Come by the group, the Ravelry group, and say hi or leave a comment. Tell me how you're doing, if you have any requests as far as dyeing or herbs, and yeah, and say hello. I'm excited to meet more of you. This has been a lot of fun so far. Thank you for sharing the podcast. Thank you for giving mentions. If you have a podcast, I really appreciate it. At ninja.chickens on Instagram, Ninja Chickens on Ravelry, Ninja Chickens podcast group, Fern Fiber. I'll put it all in the show notes and at the end, and I appreciate you all so much. Thank you very much. Have a great couple of weeks. Bye. If that mockingbird won't sing, Papa's gonna buy you a